Okay, so it says 7 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order. I'm going to take attendance first. Sandy Cross, are you attending?
Yes, I am.
Dan Maxwell.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Heather Olmstead.
Present.
And Christine Chipman.
Present.
Thank you. Does anyone have any written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest? Sandy.
No, I don't.
Dan?
No, I don't.
Heather?
No, I don't.
And Christine?
Oh, she froze.
Hello, Christine?
Oh, she's froze. Her internet's giving her grief. How's your back, Dan?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Sorry.
Had an MRI done this week, so we'll see. It's still sciatica down my leg, but maybe hopefully it'll go away soon.
Hi, Christine.
Sorry about that. I don't know if this is going to do it for the whole meeting or not.
Okay.
Where we live.
A question for you is, do you have any written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is petitions and delegations, which we have none. After that, we have reports from municipal officers, of which we have none. And then number 5, reports from committees, of which we have none. And number 6, action letters. So A, tonight we're going to continue with the process of developing a municipal strategic plan. The objective for this meeting are for council to develop goals and action plans or objectives. Once the goals have been established, then the next step, with the help of staff, will be to develop the action plans. Okay? Did everyone have a chance to go through the strategic planning workbook? This was one of the hardest ones for me so far. I just couldn't get my head wrapped around it for some reason. So I don't really know which way to proceed. Did anyone develop any goals or objectives and how to reach those goals and want to share them? Any volunteers, or I can go first, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me either.
Okay.
I have,
I'll tell you what I did. Not that it's right or wrong. I don't really sure. Not really sure. I used the East Ferris one, their plan, because I liked it the most. And I did use some of their goals, but then I used objectives that I picked out of the list that we had developed at a previous meeting and from the surveys that we had sent out to our residents. So my first one under strengthen municipal governance was that my objective for that or action plan would be to provide and attend ongoing yearly training for staff and council in regard to municipal operations, policies and procedures, and other developmental subjects. That was my first one. Another one under there for municipal governments was to appoint a CAO to manage the municipality prior to the current public works superintendent retiring in order to learn from the superintendent. This very positive change will have all staff reporting to the CAO and not to council. This will provide a stronger chain of command and one strategic direction for all employees. And that was all I had under strengthen municipal governances. My next one was the guard the pillars of strength. And my first objective under that was plan for and set aside finances to repair and upgrade existing infrastructure, such as roads and bridges, buildings, and roads and fire department vehicles. My next one under that was, there was one response from one of our residents, or maybe more. So my objective is to, for hard surface roads, was existing hard surfaces will remain and or be expanded to cover more roads. Research has shown that road maintenance on hard surfaces roads is lower than on gravel surfaces. Even with the initial outlay, then the cost of grading and gravel and that sort of stuff is way less. My next goal would be service delivery. Under that, I had explore other possibilities of group buying for all municipal service and purchases. I know Cindy's already involved in, I think, a group from Huntsville, and working with them to purchase things and a group buying power. I know we do that where I work as well, and we do get some really good pricing. Under the next one under that, I have work with Blue Sky or any other communications company to establish high-speed broadband in the municipality. Another one under that I have under service delivery is look at partnering with another municipality to share the cost of animal control within our municipality. There might be Bonfield or Papineau Cameron or anywhere, right? Close by. Then my next one there is one that Dan has brought forward. Is investigate single stream recycling as another option to extend the landfill site life. And also under that, work towards Blue Box producer recycling responsibilities. Jacob's already doing that, but we need to make sure that continues, and we have the manufacturers accepting responsibility and the costs for recycling that material. My next goal was build on our community and sense of belonging. Under there, my first objective or action plan was to follow the recommendations of our ratepayers who responded to our survey to develop that sense of belonging. Next one I had continue to adequately care for and invest in the community center, grounds, park space, and the outdoor rink. My third one under that goal was to assist and promote the active community groups we currently have in order to promote activity and inclusiveness within the municipality, both for young and the elderly. Right? There was a couple items that were submitted by our people who responded to the survey, talking about nothing, elderly people had nothing to do any longer, and it was even brought up on council. I think Heather has brought that up a couple times, so I thought I would put that in here. Then my last goal was to grow the local economy, and my first objective under there, it's kind of like far-fetched, but have sign. We talked about a previous meeting, I think it was even Dan that might have brought that up too, about nobody knows that municipality of Calvin's here, and I agree, they don't. So my first goal here was to have signage installed at the easterly and westerly entrances to Calvin to promote the municipality. Welcome home would be an excellent catchphrase. Again, that comes from Dan. And promote the Eau Claire Gorge, Smith Lake, Samuel de Champlain Provincial Park, and the Ecology Center. Those are all really worthwhile and important things in our municipality. Then my last goal there is develop a business directory on all our social media platforms that can state what business we have within our municipality and how to contact them and where they might be located. And that was all that I was able to come up with.
Wow. Wow, good job.
Anybody else have any different ones that they'd want to share?
I do want
I'm
to
sure you all
help.
have really good ones. So
Yeah, I want to promote that we have a safe community and environment.
Yes, that's a very good one.
I do want to fix our low staff morale. I want to put that on there as well. Our strengths, we're already promoting the policies. We're going to have a whole big plan of policies for E4M, right? And yes, I want to promote I love that sign on the highway. That I don't know who we have to ask, but that's a really good sign to get people in here. But I think because more families are coming back home, and we have so many new people that we need to have more social, even if we have to gather outside. But all the other ideas are great.
I really like that welcome home. That was just an excellent catchphrase. Like every time I pull off of Boundary Road there and see that thing, and up around Mount Pleasant, even my grandkids think that that's the greatest sign there is. You know, they just love it.
Nice. No, that was a very good Dan Maxwell suggestion.
It really was. Anybody else?
I think you covered everything.
For me, I had maintain the transparent and accountable municipality. That, I mean, with all the other categories that follow along with interaction with staff and council and the residents as well. The other one was still continue to push for the high-speed internet coverage through Blue Sky. I think that's huge for us on so many different levels. One of the big things for me was to engage the residents, to get them participating and to make them feel inclusive and that there's things for them to do. And it's for all age groups, especially our age and older. We focus a lot on the kids, but we haven't done anything really for the older people. Like, I mean, look into Meals on Wheels, transport for medical issues. And the other one is unlock the potential for our tourism. That's a big part as well. But I mean, the majority of what you already said, Mr. Mayor, was a lot of what I had already written down. So, yeah.
Anyone else?
I'll go.
Okay,
I'll say
Dan.
something. I like the town of Chisholm's report. I like the way at the end of their report they had listed all the their goals and then and how they're going to achieve it. So I'm just looking over here. So they put the thing that they wanted to achieve and how they were going to get there, how they're going to achieve that goal, which I found was an interesting part. So they actually had a plan. I guess this is a plan, but they had a plan on how they're going to get to the goals that they have. The goals are very specific though to local projects. I like all the things that you said, Ian. I don't know if we can scoop everything in like that, though. We're probably gonna have to focus on a couple of them, I guess, if we want to achieve something. I'm wondering, or if you have to narrow it down. We have a lot of good ideas, but we have to. We're probably gonna have to narrow it down so we're focusing on a few things so we can actually get some things done. I'm not sure how that or I'll go about that, but the things that I see important for the future of Calvin is the recycling is keeps coming up in my mind, and how we can do that, how we can approach that, and with the changing to the producer pays, is that how it goes? I'm not sure what that's going to mean for us anyway. So, but I'm wondering if we can go beyond our vision that we have right now of recycling and maybe go bigger, think bigger in terms of the region, have a sorting center in the area. I don't think we have a sorting center in our area. I'm not sure if there's one in North Bay. We have to check this out, but we have to get these recyclables sorted out and to the proper places to be redirected to. I think focusing on our landfill site would be one area where I'd like to focus on, was to extend the life of that so that we don't have to put all this money aside, because it's costing us a lot of money. And I think North's going to throw like $1 million to open a new one, and to close this one, I think it's 400,000, something like that, or maybe more. And if we can make that so that the life of that is almost indefinite by just diverting more of our waste that goes there, which should naturally be happening with the world getting more green and more technology coming on board for recycling these items. I mean, hoping that single stream recycling will lead to something that will help us reduce the amount that's going over the edge. So, because we've done a lot of improvements there, but I think we could still do more. Maybe if not a recycling plant a sorting plant in the area, maybe we could advance our sorting there so we can sort more items out of the landfill, just to stop things from going over the edge. I think I mentioned at one of our other meetings where if we could put things aside, like for example, the glass that we currently don't recycle right now, if we could stockpile that up on top, and then when we do get a place that we can ship it there, I mean, I think that can be piled aside with hardly any, worry about any environmental problems with storing some things like that could be just recycled later in the future. So the landfill is one area that I'd like to focus on, and the other area is the roads is the next one that everybody cares most about in our township. Not that everybody cares most about it, but it's a priority. That's probably one of the main reasons why we exist and as a government, and just maybe having a plan for where we're going with our roads. Maybe think about developing. I was looking at the roads plan that we got sent to us today or yesterday, and maybe just having a bigger plan of where we're going with our roads, which ones we're going to improve on, which ones we're going to hard surface more, and which ones. And I even look forward to bringing up some of the other roads that are not year-round, maybe bringing those online as well. So we continue to get our township ready for development and expansion and be in control of that. So the roads and the landfill are the two main areas that I'd like to see some concrete proposal put forward to have in our strategic plan. Of course, taking care of all the things that I said is important. Taking care of our community hall is important too as well. But we have to relook at our recreation facilities that we offer, because we're offering baseball and soccer field. Meanwhile, our community is turning into this over 65 community, where all the age group now is in our senior years. So maybe we don't have to be providing so much activity for kids anymore, but we need more for seniors. Probably like the whole country's going that way, I guess. But I mean, it's like we have these facilities that we set up, and I'm even starting to question like the skating rink. I see these other communities are to develop a skating rink, but we have one And I'm not sure how much it gets used sometimes. It's like the season's so short, and sometimes the weather's there, but the kids aren't there. I don't see any hockey games going on this winter there as much as used to in the old days. And I'm not sure if that stuff's being used as much as it was. I mean, the baseball diamond, there's no tournaments anymore. There's no, maybe it gets used once, twice a year. So we just have to look at where all this is going to kind of continue to build this youth center and not having a youth in the area. That's all I have to add.
So, Christine, were you able to think of anything, or?
Well, everything that you brought up is important, but I also think that for some of the stuff to be implemented, we need a volunteer base, and we need somebody to somehow organize it so that the same people aren't continuously called upon over and over, because then they get burnt out. They don't want to help anymore because it's taking too much of their time instead of them being able to go and enjoy it. Seniors helping seniors is a way to go. I mean, and there's a lot of kids around here that are super smart on the computer that could maybe help seniors learn computer stuff. And the internet, yeah, that's a big one too, because you're not really going to get new business, new anything happening if they can't get high speed. So, but Dan's idea with the landfill is also, we need to be looking at that as well. So yeah, it's just going to be a matter of, like Dan said, whittling them down a little bit so that we can have a manageable amount to try and accomplish. And that's it for me.
So I heard a lot of ideas, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought we were supposed to direct our staff to research if we could do this and how we would do it and maybe what it would cost us, right? So we would know if we wanted to move ahead with it or not. Am I wrong, or Cindy, is that right, or?
Yes, essentially what everyone is saying, you kind of have to pick some goals and then beneath that some objectives, and then we, the staff, would research whether they're attainable or not. Remember this document, it was decided that it was going to be a document for between 5 and 10 years. Most people on council was gearing it more towards 10 years. So this is, you can have some short-term goals and also some longer-term goals contained within it as well. But yes, essentially the next step is council has to pick some ideas that they want to move forward with, and then staff will research them and to tell council how attainable they are.
Okay. Well, everybody brought up a lot of things, all right? Okay, so I know landfill was one, okay? So let's give a question or a topic or topics to our staff to research to see if they're obtainable. All right. So, Dan, can you like, you seem pretty
with the landfill?
Not concerned, but involved with that area. Can you give a couple of points that you'd like the staff to research to see if it's a possibility?
I'm wondering about, but I'm thinking about it for our landfill as an enhanced sorting area. So can we build a building up there? I'm just talking, I don't know, this probably costs too much, but can we build a building up there where the sorting is sort of more controlled so that people don't go to the edge, or they pull up into a building, for example, that's there's product is unloaded there, and the recyclables are sorted by the staff, and anything that's not recyclable goes to the edge. It's taken there by our staff, so we know exactly what's going over the edge, because I think a lot of stuff is being snuck in over the edge, and recyclables are being dumped over. When you go to the edge, you can see a lot of stuff that shouldn't be over the edge. It's not being, it's just not being stopped from going over the edge. So just wondering if we had a different center there. I'm thinking of a structure, a building of some type where there's an unloading area and a sorting area in there, and it could be indoors so that the working conditions isn't as bad for our employees at the landfill as well. So there could be some type of at least some protection from the elements there. I mean they have a roof right now that protects from the rain, but Cindy has her hand up.
Sorry, I just want everyone to be aware that Christine has left the meeting.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry, I didn't notice.
I didn't do
So do we wait 15 minutes? Is that the rule, or?
Yeah.
Sometimes when I have a bad connection, I just go with just the audio, and that seems to help with the, she may want to try that.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna lose my thought. My train of thought here. That's so sometimes I'm not sure. I mean, this could be a regional thing too. I'm thinking about the. Can I still talk, or should I hold my thoughts? I guess I should. I'll write them down.
get together with everybody else, I guess.
I'll just write down my thoughts.
Hi, Christine.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Are you connecting and using your connection for audio and video?
Yes.
Yeah. That might be what's getting you. Not sure.
No, well, I think it's my internet provider. I've already talked to them today, and yeah, we have some issues.
Mayor Pennell, can I just say, Councillor Shipham, if it happens again, you may want to just try joining by phone. Forget about the video for this particular call. In the email that was sent to you, there should be a list of phone numbers.
Okay.
And that way you can just dial in using your phone. Just if it happens again.
My cell phone, you mean? Or any phone?
Any phone, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Any phone.
Everyone you
Yeah,
have a
so
plan on.
yeah.
Yeah, you want to make
sure you
it
got,
has long distance on it, because the number you're going to have to call is long distance.
And I should be choosing a 647 number, you said, right?
That's right, because that's an Ontario number. You don't want to be calling another province.
Okay.
It's just if it happens again, I'm just saying it might, for this evening, until you get your internet situation fixed up, it might be the better option.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Dan.
So I was thinking of some type of structure built there where they could enhance the work environment for the employees at the landfill, and as well have more control over it so that every vehicle has to go through the building to check off their products. And now this could be, we could do this. This almost could be a regional thing. This could get bigger than us, and it could become like you could get a cycling plant going somewhere in the area. It would be really nice if we could get someone that could do we'll call it a stream. What do I call it?
Single streams.
Single stream recycling. If we could get a plant in the area, that would help us. We could divert a lot of things through a plant. But right now, I think the closest one is either in Barrie or I'm not sure if there's even one in the area. So we should be lobbying our provincial government to get us a sorting plant here in our area so we could divert a lot of things from our landfill. I guess Miller is the main player in our recycling here, and we'll have to find out what they have to do. But the overall idea is to expand the life of the landfill. So the goal here is to expand the life of the landfill. We could even put a number on it if we wanted by a percentage, or maybe reduce how much is going over the edge by a percentage, or just go by amount of years that we want to expand our landfill site by. That would give us money back because we wouldn't have to put as much aside if we could get it under control, that we're not filling it up as quickly. And I'm not sure how this producer pays is going to work, but maybe that's one way that we can get this funded is through the producer pays. We can get these items out of our landfill and onto the recycling system somewhere. It's kind of the idea I was hoping that we could kind of work towards, but just I see this like landfill is a big money sucker of our resources, because we've got to put so much in reserves to close it and put more in reserves to open it, and we could get that under control so that would save us lots of money as well as be better for the environment. That's all I have to say on that. So I don't know what
Thank you. Anything further, Dan?
No, I didn't know how to put that into a motion. I said so much there that I don't know. But the goal would be to reduce the recyclables going over the edge or increase the landfill years.
Did you get any directives out of that, Cindy?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
I agree with Dan on a couple of the points he was making, and a lot of times when I'm at the landfill site, you see a half-ton truck drive in or a trailer drive in, they go right over to the edge, right? And they just start dumping and throwing, and nobody knows what's in there. So I think that would be a really good step. Might be hard to convince our residents of that at first, but it's going to save them money in the long run, right? Councillor Cross.
On the note of having the recyclables stop going over the edge, I had thought that it might be interesting if we had people stop before they got to the edge. So possibly, I don't know, but I mean, Dan's idea of building something, what if we could just move what we already have existing closer to the middle, and that when they come in, they have to stop. And we actually have a bylaw saying that we're supposed to be using clear plastic bags. What if we try to start going back to that, so that when they come in with the garbage, we can actually see what's in the garbage, so that we can divert it right at the get-go. Because if they're coming in with black garbage bags, you're not going to be able to see what's there. If we could encourage over a period of time, going to what we have in the bylaw of the clear plastic bags with monitoring when people come in. I mean, this is all just, ideas, that we could probably divert a lot right from the get-go with that. And I would be even willing to supply all the garbage bags for all of the residents for the first year, to start the campaign on getting the, people using the clear garbage bags. It'll give a year for everybody to get out of using black or white garbage bags, and we go to the clear. That could be a start as well.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any directives you'd like staff to research, Heather?
that the vehicles, the rising operating costs for the vehicles, and insurance, it's always been my sore spot. So lobbying the government to have more restriction on the ever rising cost of insurance, which makes it really impossible for us to pay. Corpio just got 5. They're so close. That's it.
Okay. Christine, is there anything that you'd like definitely to be researched?
I think the animal control would be a good one to kind of look after and so we can see where we're going with this, how many animals or whatever people have, like whether they're running around or not, or whether they're licensed, just how much that would entail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if there's
It's
any
not
interest?
necessarily just dogs. Yeah.
Nope, not dogs either. There's other animals are loose.
Yes. Well, I like the partnering up with another dog catcher.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. And maybe like with Papineau, Cameron, Bonfield, with the 3 of them all together, or us all together, that would help alleviate some costs as well.
Mm-hmm. And weekend availability, because it seems to be when it happens most.
Well, that's when people are home to catch it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to see what it would cost us for those signs. It might be frivolous or whatever. Maybe,
No,
but at least take a look at it and see. I think there's an application process you have to make to the ministry for a location, and there's some stipulations there about how far away they have to be apart and maybe sizes. I'm not sure how far back off the road, something like that.
I can speak to, we're just replacing our 2 highway signs on the highway, and each sign's costing us $1,500 each for the sign to get printed, and that doesn't include the stand. And the fees have gone way up in the signs. We now have to lease them for 5 years at a time, and I think it's $700 per sign for a 5-year contract. It's not too bad, but.
Is that the one up by Centennial Crescent?
The signs that our highway signs we have up on Highway
Yeah.
17.
Yeah, okay. So that's the one where you buy the Potter's Wheel there?
Yes, yeah, the one up by Centennial Crescent, that's right.
Okay. All right. I'd like to look into that.
Yeah, it's a good idea. All the other townships have it.
Yeah. Every time I go to Mattawa, I see Papineau Camerons. This is kind of dark, but it does stand out.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got here? Would an objective be to, I'm looking ahead for financing and trying to put money away for infrastructure, whether it be vehicles or equipment or roads or culverts or bridges or whatever, buildings. I don't know what would be the directive for that, to maybe give us a cost of an estimate of a cost that we would have to put away each year in order to be able to accomplish those goals. Sandy. You're on mute, Sandy.
I'm mute.
Sorry. I had requested today to look at the asset management plan and also the road, what was that called?
Road needs study.
Oh, the road needs study. Because I know the roads is definitely one of the biggest things that a lot of people are talking about, and the asset management plan kind of coincides with some of that as well, with equipment. And I'd also like to see if we could possibly, I mean, look at what we could do to save us money in the future. Like, if there is something that we could purchase that would, even if it's with a neighboring municipality, that we could share, say, for instance, the ditching and the roadside, not ditching, the roadside brushing and grass cutting, the machine that does that. We put out a certain amount every year to do that, well, besides last year, and I'm sure other municipalities do the same. If we shared the cost of purchasing that, we would not have to tender it out, and our own staff would be able to do it. And these things need to be done because the grass cutting and the ditching helps with, the erosion of the roads. There's benefits to having that done. So instead of tendering it out every year, like, is there other ways of looking at cost savings by planning for these type of purchases? If that could be looked into by, say, the roads department, or
So would that directive be to investigate cost savings by purchasing roadside equipment or other equipment for that matter? And perhaps,
I would like to say all departments. I mean, the rec department, if it has to do with, okay, well, I know we have a new furnace, but say if we needed windows, that would save in the future for propane costs. Is there things that we can think of now that we can look to do in the future that will end up saving us in the long run? I mean, our staff are the ones who know these foreseeable things that are going to be happening better than any of us. So if there's some sort of directive that they could come up with, anything that they can see that could help us maybe cut costs in the future. Because, I mean, we talk a lot about, purchasing things. How about, let's talk about some things that we can cut costs on. Not the budget, but just cut costs on. Like, we spent a lot of money on what's that, the calcium that for dusting. Is there something that we could look at to do to cut that down? I mean, $18,000 I think was in the budget for that. Does that mean more road surfacing? Maybe for the main ones? Just throwing ideas out there, that's all.
I think the Dustmaster 20 or whatever we use now is cheaper than the calcium that we used to use, and it's not as environmentally aggressive. But there might be something else out there that would be cheaper and do as good a job. We still use a certain amount of calcium flake at this point, but I don't think we can get away from that. It's just different roads react in different ways and absorb the conditioning in different ways, different amounts. I'd like to pursue the idea of a CAO. What that would cost.
Establishing CAO. I just said that.
And I'd like to also get a cost on, or an approximate cost on training, yearly ongoing training for both employees and for council, should we feel that we need it, or would like to learn different aspects, maybe a new item and a new subject. I'd like to look into that as well. I can't think of anything else.
Could we have with the roads? Do we have I saw the plan we had sent us, say, was the road plan. I guess a roads plan. Do we have a roads plan for improvement and possibly expansion of? Can we develop a road plan so that we know where we're going over the next 5 years? I see the one that was sent to us today that showed it had specific roads that were going to be built up in certain area, bad spots on. It was actually identified particular roads that were going to be worked on in 5 years, but it was in 2010, I think that plan. So I don't think we have a roads plan right now then in place, do we? Unless it was done. So perhaps we need another roads plan that would fit in with the life of our strategic plan here. Just in terms of where we're going with the roads. And I would also like to see a plan of our rec department, our community center area of our hall and skating rink and our property. I'd like to see a master plan of where we're planning on going with that in future years, like how we're going to develop, if we're going to do any more development, and how that will be laid out. If we have whatever our plans are for the future, which I really don't know what they are, but we talked about adding a CCAN on the back, for example. It's just a small thing, but all these things that we do is kind of is being put together in a hodgepodge kind of way. And I would like to see an official plan that this is what our community is going to look like. We're laying out this way so that in the future there'll be space for whatever's coming in the future. Does that make any sense to anybody, or is it important enough?
I think that's important enough. We have to give, as a council, tell staff what we want to happen, and then have them investigate and come back and tell us if it's possible and what it's going to cost us, right? Not to them to develop what the area is going to look like or what we're going to offer, right? I think that's our role, and then for them to explore what it will cost us to do that, or if it's possible to do that. Am I correct?
Yes. We'd need some directive, staff would need some directive of what exactly it is. Like the CCAN, as you suggested, Councillor Maxwell. I know in the past there's been suggestions about doing something with the band shell that is not used often. Does council want to do that? Do they want to replace the rink building with something that's more aesthetically pleasing, more functional, more? We just kind of need some direction of what exactly is it that council would like? What are the ideas that they have? And then we can, as Mayor Pennell indicated, we can research them and see if they're feasible or not.
So then, as far as that CCAN, can we have a directive to staff to investigate and report on what it would cost us to put I think a 20-foot sea container would be adequate for any storage we would require. How much would it cost us to purchase that and install it according to what the CBO has recommendations, whether it be on gravel, whether it be on a cement pad, whether it be on pillars or whatever, just to come back to us and tell us exactly what it would cost us to put that in place and give us access to the hall so that we can store chairs and tables in it. Would everybody agree with that? Maybe we're going to find out that it's way too much.
Sure.
Not that I knew I had to declare conflict here, but I just want to remind that it's not the municipality purchasing the CCAN. it was going to be a donation from the CWA.
Okay.
So I don't want people thinking that the CWA have come up with this grand geos idea and expect the municipality to pay for it, because that's not what it is.
Okay.
We were just looking to see if they would accept it, if there was a place that it could be put. There was mention of maybe a walkway that maybe the municipality could help pay for, but that was all we were looking for. We weren't looking into a great big project of an addition to the building or a lot of costs. That's all.
Okay, I'll withdraw my remarks, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have enough to, okay, Dan?
There are smaller projects, but can we look at repurposing the band shelter, as we call it, as I'm thinking it's going to be a good warm-up room, change room / warm-up room for putting your skates on. The existing one is, and also in the other building we have the water containers in there still, right? The tanks, the big tanks. Can we look at removing those and repurposing that area for something as well? No. Just wondering about that whole area. How, I don't think we need those tanks for anything, and I don't know if they'll be useful in flooding the rink. I don't know if it's. I think I was talking to Sandy about this one day. We thought there wasn't enough pressure there we'd have to have something pumped out. I guess it'd be a source of water, but. Yeah. I don't know if that's needed or not for the rink, though. It seems like it's working using the fire department.
I had mentioned that maybe instead of a sea can, we could get rid of the cisterns and that would be storage. If that's a possibility.
And carry the tables and chairs back and forth?
Well, the tables and chairs are the issue. They've always been the issue. So I don't know. We're just trying to, the goal is to try to, to bring back what we had at the hall by having, dances and get-togethers and making it safe so that these chairs and these dollies aren't in the way. We were hoping maybe one day we could even try to develop, a bar area again. These are just ideas that the ladies were putting, and it's the chairs that are the big issue. So
yeah.
But this is not part of that, so.
Okay. Does anybody have another directive they'd like staff to research? Sandy?
I just think looking into the roads and what I like Dan's idea about a map and maybe future development of where we're going with this. That plan that we were looking at today showed that there's a lot of roads that are needing upkeep. Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that over a period of time, we put a minimal amount of gravel on the roads that we can for our budget. And over time, we have to start redoing that. And I think in that plan, it said something between, it had a breakdown of the first 5 years, and then it had another breakdown of, I think, the money is significant, and the where is, we need to look at bringing everything up to snuff.
Yeah, they said $5 million.
Yeah, they said the first year, 2010 was 9%, and then in 2015 they're saying 60% of the roads, and that's 5 years, 60% of the roads. That was. So I definitely would like to see maybe a new study done on our current roads. I think Dan was right about seeing if we could do that.
Okay. So we can ask the staff to research a new road review. and investigate costs for that to occur. And I think somebody suggested, it might have been Cindy, that we could do that with maybe ask other neighboring municipalities if anyone else has an interest in those areas, so that we could do it at the same time to achieve a saving to do that. Anything else, Sandy?
No.
Dan, do you have anything else?
Just have a question on your CAO position. How would that take the position? Would that replace the position of the road superintendent? Is that what you're thinking? And that the road superintendent would now become public works, or how do you see the structure of the township with a CEO?
I think the CAO would be the head of the municipality, and everyone would report to the CAO. The CAO, correct me if I'm wrong here, this is my understanding, the CAO would develop all the budgets with the input of the different departments and look after those budgets. And there will be less responsibility on the road superintendent. Is that correct, Cindy?
Okay.
Yes, but there would still need to be a manager of the department. There would still need to be a roads or a public works manager, superintendent, whatever the title you want to call them. There would
So
still need to be someone who heads that department. But that head, instead of reporting to council the way it is now, would report to the CAO.
And the CAO would report to council.
That's correct.
And how does this relate to the clerk's job? To the
Pardon me?
how does this relate to Cindy's job? Is this something that would replace, be overlapping with your job, or is this? I'm just curious. Is this a totally new position altogether, or is it combined with one of our other positions currently?
Speaking from when I suggested it, my thought process would be it would be rolled into the clerk treasurer position. So like many of the surrounding areas, it would be, the person's title would be CAO clerk treasurer. I mean, you can separate them. There are some municipalities who have a separate CAO, a separate clerk, a separate treasurer. But that's typically done in larger municipalities.
Yeah.
It's only my opinion, and it's council's decision how they want to proceed with that. But when I suggested it a few months ago, that was what my thought process was.
Anything further, Dan?
No, thank you.
Heather?
No, nothing further. Thank you.
Christine?
No, I think we've covered pretty much what we can for today.
Do you think you have enough, Cindy?
Oh, yes, we do.
Okay.
Sorry.
So then B, directed to staff, next steps. So that would be for you to go back to the staff and the rest of the employees to bring us back some more information. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So then we have a resolution in front of us then that I'll need a mover and a seconder for. So how about Christine? Can you move this one, please?
I can.
And Dan, can you second this one, please?
Yes, again.
Okay, thank you. So we have a resolution in front of us moved by Christine Shippen and Dan Maxwell that the next meeting for the Development Municipality of Calvin's Strategic Plan will be held August the 3rd, 2021 as a special meeting of council. And the directives to the clerk to finalize a list of strategic initiatives as per the discussion this evening for the next meeting. As per the strategic planning workbook, the August 3rd, 2021 meeting will provide staff input on feasibility, risks, performer costs, and other considerations in order to determine whether the list of suggested initiatives are attainable. Any discussion on that? Councillor Cross?
No.
Councillor Maxwell?
No.
No discussion, no.
Councillor Olmsted?
Oh, no discussion.
Thank you. Councillor Shippen?
No discussion.
Am I saying your name right, Christine?
Yeah.
That's gonna,
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
Okay, so I'm going to call this to a vote then. Councillor Cross, do you vote to proceed with this resolution? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
And Councillor Maxwell, do you vote to proceed with this resolution?
Yes.
Councillor Olmsted?
yes.
And Councillor Shippen?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So this resolution is carried. Thank you all.
You're welcome.
So next, item 7, there are no information letters. Item 8, there's no information letters available. 9, old and new business. There shouldn't be anything there. This is a special meeting. 10, account approval report. There won't be anything there. 11, there will be no closed portion. 12, business arising from the closed portion, none. 13, notice of motion, none. So the last item on the agenda is the adjournment. So again, it's another resolution. Councillor Olmsted, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Cross, can you second this one, please?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a resolution moved by Councillor Olmsted, and seconded by Councillor Cross, that this special meeting of council now be adjourned at 8:01 p.m. Any discussion on that? Councillor Cross?
No discussion.
Councillor Maxwell?
No discussion?
Councillor Olmsted?
No discussion.
Councillor Shippen?
No discussion.
Okay, so I'll call us to a vote that, do you agree to adjourn the meeting at this time? Councillor Cross, yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell?
Yes.
Councillor Olmsted?
Yes.
And Councillor Shippen?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes as well. So, meeting is now adjourned. So, I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. Stay safe. You take care of your back, Mr. Maxwell.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all at the next meeting. Have a good night, everyone.
You too. Good night. Good night.
Night.